What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. So today's Wednesday, and today's topic is gonna be dear subject to me. Now, if you watched any of my videos, any of the vlogs, anything, you know that I'm playing Decidueye for Nationals. I've said this multiple times. I think it's the best deck. It can literally take down anything, and I'm in love with Decidueye. It's my favorite Pokemon of the set. It does so much. It's just so powerful. It has a lot of HP. It has amazing ability, and I can go on and on. But with Decidueye, there's a ton of different ways that you can play it. And today we're going to focus on 4 different lists that I have been testing, and I'm highly considering playing for U.S. Nationals, Internationals, whatever you want to call it. So as you see here, we have Decidueye Box, Decidueye Ninetales, Decidueye Vileplume Ninetales, and Decidueye Vileplume. So the first one to cover is the one that you actually saw happen this past Sunday, win a League Cup, and that is going to be the Decidueye Vileplume list that I've love, and it's just a straight, consistent Decidueye Vileplume deck. So for Decidueye, if you don't know, Decidueye has that Feather ability, Razorleaf for 90, and a Hollow Hunt GX. Put 3 cards from discard pile back into your hand. Feather, you put 2 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon, setting up some fantastic knockouts. Now, this is probably the most generic one that we see a lot. This is one that everybody knows and loves. It's not too different from what we see nowadays or from the past. There's some key cards in here that's a little bit different from the past. Is that we play 2 Tapu Lele for the Wonder Tag, of course. No more do we play Lugia. I mean, you can play Lugia, that's fine. Don't get me wrong, 1 Lugia is great. But having 2 Tapu Lele is so good in this deck. Like, just being able to Wonder Tag at any moment and just grabbing any supporter card of your deck as broken. And I would highly suggest, if you're not playing 2 Leles, test it out. Let me know if you like it or not. Now, don't get me wrong. You can go the Tauros route, you can go the Lugia route and play one of those instead. But I like the 4 Lele in here. I like the 2 Lele in here for sure, just to guarantee those porter cards. And I think Lele is a great addition to the deck. And this list is going to play like the straight Vileplume. We're going to play 2/2 Vileplume with the Irritated Pollen, and this is going to shut down your opponent. But the problem with this is you shut yourself down as well. So what you end up doing with this deck is you get out of Decidueye, you get like maybe 1 or 2 Decidueyes, then get out of Vileplume, and you start swinging, you're good to go, do a ton of damage. Of course, playing 3 Shamiux to help set up. Now, before the new set came out, Guardians Rising, you played Beedrill-EX. Beedrill-EX had the Tool Scrapper attack to get rid of 2 tools, but that was an attack. So what we're playing now is a tool. We're playing Field Blower to get rid of 2 combination of tools and Stadium Guards. And what this does, of course, get rid of the tools are Garbodor. And the cool thing about this is you can get it back. So let's say you discard your Field Blower, right? You discard your Field Blower, you can't reuse it. Well, that's when Decidueye comes in with Hollow Hunt to get back the Field Blower, and you can reuse it and put a lot of pressure on that Garbodor player, which is really, really cool. And the thing about Garbodor as well, which a lot of people don't talk about, is you can Hollow Hunt to put 3 tools back in your deck and make where it doesn't do any damage. Like, it does even less damage for a Garbodor Trash Lance. So that's something you can look into for sure. This deck plays a 4/4 Grass DCE. I really am not a big fan of the list that plays 3 Grass and 4 DCEs. Because if you're not attaching an energy every single turn, you're going to lose. And so with 8 energy, you pretty much guarantee that. Even if you have 2 prize, because you should hypothetically draw 1 every single turn with 6 in your deck. So 2 Revitalize to get Grass Pokemon on your discard pile back in your hand, 3 Level Ball, 3 Train as well. We only play 3 instead of the 4. If you want to play 4, like if you like the 4, you can cut it in for the 4th Train as well. It's not a bad idea, don't get me wrong. But with this deck, you need to get set up ASAP. You need to find multiple Vileplumes. You need to get these guys set up. So in this list, you are going to see Train as well. While in some lists, you're not. I think it's just 1 list actually that doesn't play Train as well. But yeah, it's a really good list. It's the same list that's been like floating around forever. It's really strong and really consistent. Probably my favorite list going into Nationals for sure. It's just really consistent. Like, you don't have any like tech attackers. You just like get a Vileplume, shut down your opponent. You get 2 Decidueyes, and you just start going crazy. So that's the first Decidueye deck. Now remember, there's 4 altogether. So this video is going to be kind of repetitive, but the other lists are going to be kind of different for sure. So let's look at Decidueye again. And next up, let's go over another Decidueye Vileplume deck. And now this is one that's been popping up a lot of different places, and that is the Decidueye Vileplume Ninetales deck. Now this list is actually Aaron Tarbell's from his top 8 appearance, if I remember correctly, from Nationals, from quarterfinals. Yeah, so top 8. from Madison, and then he would go on the next week to play it as well. I think he made top 8 as well, maybe top 16. I know he made cut. I don't know if it's the same 60. But this list is going to be a little bit different. You're going to no longer see Choice Spin in, or not Choice Spin, Field Blower. So no longer playing Field Blower. He got rid of a Tapu Lele. I'm just talking about a list that's different from Mars. So you got rid of a Tapu Lele. So he's playing 2 lists of that. 1 list Grass Energy. And then 1 more Shaman. And what he does now is put a 2/2 Ninetales in there. So he lost 4 cards. He lost a Shaman, Tapu Lele, Grass. And I just said it, and I already forgot what it was. I don't remember. Oh, and a Field Blower. So that's the 4 cards he loses. So you kind of show against Garbodor, but his plan is to use like Ninetales. So let's go over the deck. So same concept or whatever. You can have the Vileplume, the Decidueye, the Lele, and the Shaman, all that kind of good stuff, right? So he's playing one less Grass, which it might be okay. Like I haven't tested this list out like too much. I don't like there's multiple stages in this deck. But the point of this deck is actually a little bit different than the other Decidueye. Like I said in the last one, in that one you actually try to go for the turn 1 Decidueye and then set up Vileplume, while in this one you actually go for a turn 1 Vileplume while getting a Vulpix in the active. And what the Vulpix does, it has the beacon to search your deck for 2 Pokemon. And with this, you can get set up behind the Vileplume, so you're able to get the turn 1 Vileplume out ASAP, right? And when that happens, you shut down your opponent from turn 1. They can't use any item cards, and you put them in a bad situation from the start. And now you have Vulpix, the beacon, set up, find your Pokemon, you're good to go. And you might be saying, well, hey, how do you deal with Garbodor Garbotoxin? You don't have a Field Blower. Well, in this deck, you have Ninetales. Ninetales has the Ice Blade. It does 52 when your opponent's Pokemon. Now, you have to 2-shot a Garbodor, which is kind of troublesome. But the good thing about this is if your opponent... Like, let's say you get to throw a Vileplume, and for some reason your opponent puts down like a Mango Base and a Trubbish, because they try to activate their Drampa, you get an Ice Blade, that Trubbish for a knockout, and that's something you can do for sure. So, little things you can do. You can also just Ice Blade immediately a Trubbish, and if they don't find like a Garbodor and a Floatstone, then you can just like Ice Blade it again. And you might be saying, hey, once you get a Vileplume, how do they deal with that? Well, they can always Hex and then attach a tool to turn on the Garbotoxin and go that way. But still, they need a Hex plus a tool and to find a Garbodor. And usually they only play the one Garbodor, so it's kind of hard for them to set up that way. But still, Ninetales is a really good attacker. Just using the Ice Blade to snipe some bench Pokemon with Feather Arrow, you can start setting up knockouts. And you can actually abuse the Ice Path GX to move all damage cards from this Pokemon to your opponent's active Pokemon, which means that you can take down decks that are like weak to fire. Not weak to, like if you're weak to fire, so against like Volcania and stuff like that, you can actually Ice Blade them, which is really nice. Or you can Ice Path them and move damage to the active. You don't have to worry about Flareon, because Flareon can't really do too much to it either. And this list is actually pretty interesting. It's a little bit different, but still it's the Decidueye Vileplume that we know and love. Like I said, it focuses more on using that beacon attack and then using the Ninetales to like snipe hook off the bench. And it still is a really strong deck. Now, this is the one that I've seen kind of popping up a little bit more than the other one. But like I said, I still rather play the Decidueye Vileplume list just because you have one more Shaman, you have one more Lele, and another energy card, which is more consistent, which I think is what you try to aim for at Nationals, is a more consistent deck, because you have to play 9 rounds and then another 5 or 6 today too. So you need to make sure your deck does not struggle. And with the Decidueye, you always a chance of you struggling. You play so many Pokemon. This list plays 25. Sometimes you are gonna brick, but I think you're gonna be fine with this list. Either one's fine. It's kind of up to preference kind of thing. What we're talking about now. So that's to me the Decidueye Vileplume Ninetales deck that Aaron Tabar has played to make top 8. And I know he made top cut the next week. I just can't remember how great he did in Mexico. All right, so that's list number 2. So next up is going to be the Decidueye Box. Now, this list is it could be changed a little bit. And the first thing you're going to notice is no longer are we playing Rainbow Energies. Grass Energies. Instead, we're playing Rainbow Energies to activate any type of energy attached to your Pokemon. So what this means is you can attach energies onto Jolteon and Glaceon to make them count as those color types. Like you can use Crystal Ray, Mega Evolutions Can't Hurt You, which can then take down like Metagross stacks and Flareon, Best Queen decks. Anything that's evolution, you automatically beat them. Now, Zork and Garbodor, a little bit different because they do have Drampa, but it's still hard for them to set up once you get that Vileplume out, because once you get that Vileplume out, they kind of struggle fighting energies, and maybe you can knock out the Drampa before they knock you out. So that's something you have to worry about. And also against not just like straight basic decks, you have Jolteon. Now we did see this list do somewhat well. I can't remember where exactly it was. And at the beginning of the year, we actually saw like a Regice Glaceon Jolteon deck get second place at Florida Regional. So it's kind of like the same thing, except we have Decidueye in there, of course, because that's what the deck's based off of. You have different attackers like Jolteon and Glaceon. You only play one of each, but that's fine. They're really just needed for that sole purpose of when you're playing against an X deck like Volcanion. Like, all right, I'm playing against Volcanion. We're going to Glaceon them and win that way. I mean, Jolteon them and win that way. You might worry about a Ranger, but a lot of the Volcanion players are cutting Ranger for Olympias, so that way they can like switch out and be good to go that way. So that's fine. So yeah, this is a different take on the deck. Once again, same concept. This is probably my least favorite out of the four. Just because you're more reliant on these tacky cards. Now, these tacky cards could win you games. Like I said, against Metagross, you kind of struggle with this other Decidueye list. You really don't have an answer to Metagross because they do so much damage. Yeah, they can't play their item cards, but they have their own Vulpix to set up, and I think Metagross is a tough matchup in that spot for sure. And so, yeah, I think this is my least favorite, but I know some people still love this deck, and we have to cover it for sure, right? It just has the Jolteon and the Glaceon to like hit for different things if needed. Hold on, I gotta take a drink real quick. All right, sorry about that. But in this list, I think one thing I would change immediately, like this list is kind of outdated. I haven't played this one too much. I definitely switch the trainers off to a 4th in. 100% would do that from the start, for sure. But yeah, that is going to be the Decidueye box list. Now, there's some other stuff you could play in here. Maybe play Tapu Koko. Maybe play an Espeon to make it more techy. But we'll cover those here in a second. But yeah, this is going to be the Decidueye Vileplume box deck. And like I said, it's on the bottom of my list. I mean, it's like I said, not all. If you decide to play this, it's not bad. Like, it's still bad. Like I said, Decidueye is the best deck going into Nationals for sure. I think so. So playing it and playing whatever you want to is up to you. All right. So last but not least, we're gonna cover a new deck that's been popping up, and a guy named would you like to discard? No, I want to save those changes. Thank you, Pokemon, for helping me. Okay, so a guy named Jordan Palmer. Let me make sure I get this correctly. Yeah, Jordan Palmer from Australia has killed it last week. He's from Adelaide, Australia, and he's been playing this Decidueye deck. You're gonna hear me just say just Decidueye. So you're gonna notice this one's just Decidueye Ninetales, and let's look at this crazy deck. And this one's a little bit different. It's a lot different from all the other ones. The first thing you're gonna notice is there's no Vileplume here. So what this does is it allows you to play a bunch of cards that you don't get to play in Decidueye, obviously, that you used to can. But this also could be bad because now your opponent can also play their own item cards. So that's like a win-win situation, right? It's win-win. But this deck does do a lot of different things. So of course we have the Decidueye. This list also includes Ninetales. Now Ninetales is a little bit different because you still can rely on the beacon, but this one you actually kind of just use the Ninetales for. And the reason why is because of Volcanion. So what you can do against Volcanion is you can Ice Blade Volcanion for 50. With a Choice Band for 160 and a Feather Arrow for 170 to knock out Volcanion. And they're going to struggle to hit you back for 210. And if they swing for a ton of damage, you can then punish them back with an Ice Bath, move all the damage off the Ninetales, and knock out Volcanion that way, right? So that's really cool. You have Tapu Koko to spread damage everywhere, which is really cool. And one of the key cards is that can Espeon. Now, in any of the lists, you can include an Espeon in there. But I choose not to include an Espeon on those lists because you play a Vileplume, and it's hard just to randomly draw an Espeon. But Espeon is a game changer some matches. It has the Miraculous Shrine, which you de-evolve each of your opponent's evolution Pokemon, or the highest evolution Pokemon, and put it into their hand. You know, I'm thinking, why is this good? Like, who cares that you de-evolve their highest evolution? It goes to their hand, who cares? Well, the thing about this is if you like set up all the Pokemon to set up knockouts, like let's say you're playing against a Vesqueen Zoroark deck and all the Combies at 40 HP, all the Zoroark have 60, if you're able to Flying Flip plus Feather Arrow and spread the damage everywhere and then you use a Miraculous Shrine to de-evolve them all, you can actually take like 5 prize cards out of nowhere, which is crazy. And this deck is, you know, it does struggle against decks that like really rely on item cards, because if they really rely on item cards, you can use Vileplume and shut them down immediately and win that way, while this one, it doesn't do that, and you can easily lose against them. But let's break it down a little bit. So 4/4 Decidueye, of course, like always. None of these lists are not going to play 4/4 Decidueye. That is the main guy in this deck for sure. So 2 Shaman, of course, to help set up. 1 less than others, but that's fine, because we're not going to item lock ourselves. We're going to have multiple times to keep using our item cards. 2 Lele for support. 1 Coco for that flying flip, like I said, do 20 everywhere. 1 Espeon to de-evolve, and a 2/1 Ninetales, of course, to help you take down Volcanion. And once again, to snipe Pokemon. It's just really good to snipe out like Trubbishes with 70 HP, because now what you can do is you can Ice Blade plus, I mean, you can always could have done this, but you can Ice Blade plus a Feather Arrow for the knockout Trubbishes, which is really nice and a really cool thing to do. So this list is going to play 2 Fill Blower to help us out to get rid of those Choice Bands, those Float Stones, and maybe Stadium Cards as well, which is really cool. 2 Love Ball, 4 Ultra Ball. That's going to stay the same in almost every single, in all the lists. This is going to be a staple for sure. 1 Rescue Stretch and 1 Revitalizer. Now this is going to be a little bit different. All the other lists play 2 Revitalizer, but this one you play a Stretcher because you play other Pokemon that are not grass, like the Top Coco, the Espeon, the Ninetales. Now the other lists, they do play the Ninetales and stuff like that, but once again, those revolve around Vileplume. So the whole point of those decks is you like go crazy turn 1, revitalize, you get Vileplume and Decidueye in your hand, and you get set up. So you really don't need the revitalizer late game or the stretcher. So in this situation, you're going to in this situation you can use your. Sorry, that's kind of confusing. Sorry. Alright, so let's say the other decks, right? So the other decks, you have 2 Revitalizers, so that way you can get the turn 1 Decidueye Vileplume, and let's say they knock out your Vileplume, right? Like, in those decks, they try to license your Vileplume to take a knockout, but since you're playing 2 Revitalizers, you can automatically get back in your hand, and you get a Vileplume set up ASAP. While this one, they really kind of just focus on whoever's in the active spot for the most part, so that's why you don't play the 2 Revitalizers, but still, you need the Stretcher to get back, like I said, the other Pokemon. Maybe put 1 straight in your hand. Maybe shuffle 3 back in your deck. The 1 Revitalizers are still good to get back in the Decidueye line. It's really broken for sure. So we finally have V-Seeker in our deck, of course, because we don't play Vileplume anymore. 4 Forest, 1 Delinquent, which I'm not 100% sold on just right now. I kind of like a Kukui in here. I'm still testing this deck out. I don't know. Like, out of my decks, like all of my decks, the Decidueye Vileplume is like my #1 choice, is straight consistent. But this one is starting to get up there. I'm not 100% sure though. But Delinquent, it could be good if your opponent has 3 cards in your hand. You could Delinquent down to 0 and punish them. But they can always just top decks. That's what I'm always scared of. But you could add a Kukui. And the reason I got a Kukui is because Razor Leaf for 90 plus a Choice Band is 120 plus Kukui is 140, and then you can maybe like Feather Arrows for some damage and take some knockouts that way, which is really cool. You can actually just put like a 3rd in if you want to, which I don't think is a bad thing either. You can cut the Delinquent for a 2nd Ninetales. There's a lot of different things you could do. There's a little bit more space. There's not the Ninetales. I mean, there's not the Vileplume in here anymore. 1 Lysander, which I mean, once again, you can cut the Delinquent for a 2nd Lysander, which is fine. And we'll see 1 Skyla. Now, the Skyla might seem kind of weird, but the Skyla can get like a Forest or a Revitalizer and be good to go. Maybe a Skyla for an Ultra Ball to get out of Pokemon, to get a knockout that way, which is really nice. And this deck is going to play Choice Band, and that's going to boost your Decidueye's attacks by 30 to GX or EX Pokemon. So now you do it 120, then plus some Razor Leaves, I mean some Feather Arrows, you can like take some knockouts that way, which is really, really cool, and I do like the Choice Band here. 100%. So, actually, you know, the real reason why Choice Band is here, I'm not gonna lie to you, is for Ninetales, so that we can knock out Volcanions. But still, it's really nice to like Feather Arrow and Razor Leaf and take some knockouts that way, which is really cool. It just helps you out at least like at least 2 more Feather Arrows, maybe, depending if you have 30 more HP or 40. So, 2 Floatstone to get that free retreat, like always. 2 Floatstones, like always a staple in this deck for sure. But 4 DC and 4 Grass Energies. And like I said, this list it's a little bit different. I think you have a better chance of beating evolution decks like Metagross and maybe Gyarados and stuff like that. But I mean, I think you beat Gyarados no matter what. What am I talking about? But Metagross, Vesquane, anything that has multiple evolution Pokemon, this deck can help you beat, while the other Decidueye list probably struggles because it's kind of hard to like Lysander, knock out multiple Pokemon and stuff like that. I don't know. Decidueye, like I said, is definitely my favorite deck going to Nationals, and I'm 100% sure. Like if you see me not playing Decidueye Nationals, you come out to me like Spooky, you're a liar. You just scream at me saying I'm a liar. But I think I'm 100% sure playing Decidueye for Nationals. I just don't know which one to play. Out of the top ones so far, my favorite one, like I said, is the straight Decidueye Vileplume deck. It's the one that you saw Kenton win with this past weekend. It's really straight. It's really consistent. Terminal Vileplume is always really broken. I've loved Vileplume forever. It's been one of my favorite cards. I've played it for so long. It's been around since like 2010, 2011, somewhere between there. Not this card, but Irritating Pollen has been around for such a long time, and I always love Vileplume so much. It's such a dirty card. Next up is probably going to be the straight Decidueye Ninetales deck that Jordan had played. I think he won a regionals and got second with it, if I remember correctly, over in New Zealand. Third will be Aaron Tarbell's Decidueye Ninetales, and fourth will be Decidueye Box with the Jolteon and Glaceon. And there we go, guys. There's 4 different Decidueye Vileplume decks. Now, there's probably a billion different other ways you can play Decidueye. I'll tell you some no-nos. You don't play Decidueye Sableye. Decidueye Sableye Vileplume, that's a no-no. That's not good at all. Trust me. I've tried the deck. It's not good. Don't play Decidueye Sableye. Like, I'm not trying to like make a secret deck and be like, oh, it's good. Like, I promise. Don't play Decidueye Sableye. Don't play it. Like, I had people at first like say, hey, play this deck, and I tested it, and I never won a game. It's so bad. Don't play Sableye. Unless you got to figure it out, then go for it. But I wouldn't. No, I promise. I tested it. It's not good. But anything outside of that, Decidueye is good. Just test out a bunch of different stuff. You can maybe play, I don't know, you go crazy. You can like play the straight Decidueye, and instead of playing all those attackers, you play Loranta's promo, where you do more damage. That could be something cool. Then you just like take knockouts with Decidueye. The best thing about Decidueye, and this is why I love this card so much, it has 240 HP. It comes out turn 1 because of Force of Giant Plants. It has a broken ability to put damage counters anywhere on the field, and a Hollow Hunt gets you back 3 cards out of your discard pile, which is something like the game. It makes this deck broken. And if you're not testing this, I don't know what's wrong. Now, don't be surprised if you don't see Decidueye at all at Nationals, like barely anywhere, because a lot of people are counting it out because it hasn't done well at any tournament, but barely anybody has played it, which is what makes it so different. And I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see how does Decidueye perform at Nationals. Will the couple people who play it do very well and prove that, hey, Decidueye was the play? Or will we all be wrong and be like, hey, it wasn't the play? But guys, hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new about the Decidueye Vileplume deck from this Wednesday. Next Wednesday, I'll be heading out to Indianapolis, and I'll be there for Wednesday to Sunday. So come say hi. Next Wednesday, hopefully, I'll have a Nationals discussion. That should be a lot of fun. We'll talk about the decks and break down everything that you need to know. And start asking questions. What questions do you have for us? We'll make sure we try to answer them for the Nationals, for the biggest tournament of the year, which is U.S. Nationals. Or U.S. Internationals. I'm going to call it U.S. Nationals. It's U.S. Nationals. Forget Internationals. I hate that name. But U.S. Nationals. So we'll see everybody there for sure. But guys, make sure you test Decidueye if you love it. If you hate it, then let me know you hate Decidueye. Be like, Squeaky, I hate you. Stop talking about Decidueye Vileplume. I hate that deck. Don't talk about it. And I'll be like, I'm sorry. I love this deck. But guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Have a great Wednesday. Alrighty. Bye. Alright guys, I just want to give a quick shout out to our 3 sponsors, 60 Cards, Yeti Gaming, and the Pokemon Company International. Links to everything will be down below in the description. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Alrighty.